Hello everyone, today we talk about Dotzauer Etude number 5. This is one required piece for MTAC, the Certificate of Merit, level 4. So um, the piece is not very long, it's only one page, and it's mainly on the first position. So the note is not super hard, but there are several points I want to bring out to you. Maybe can help you to master this little wonderful etude. First, let's talk about the articulation. It says forte marcato in the beginning. So marcato is a heavy accented stroke from the bow, right? So you need to make a little accent on each note. That means you have to stop the bow a little bit. Of course, you have to do a little bit quicker for the allegro tempo, but still you need to have each note really clearly articulated. So each note need to have this type of quality. So you don't have to be super fast with your tempo, and because the meter is 6/8, there's always a tendency to go forward. So it is very essential to practice with a metronome. Start slow and group the note together. Either you can group in 3 or later on group in 6. Um, in this way, I think the music comes more naturally rather than very robotic. So when you see when I put the bow on the string, I try to use the balance point, which is the easiest part to make this articulation. Since the bow is not very fast, you don't need to go to the middle for the fast sautille or the spiccato bow. This is more marcato, more heavier bow. For dynamic, there are fortissimo on the fourth line, on the fourth bar of the fourth line, and beginning is forte. So try to have a plan. Don't just give everything in the beginning, and always make this nice dynamic contrast. And you can see after 3 line down the fortissimo, you have a piano. So this one, try to keep the dynamic down. Now, we still stick with the bow. There's lots of string crossing. So when you're doing string crossing, when you go to the higher string, thinking about you reaching out, and then when you go back to the lower string, you bring the arm and hand back. So in this way, you're in and out. You're not going up and down. Up and down make the string crossing very edgy, and the distance is actually much greater. So out, out, in, in. So I constantly thinking about reaching out to the higher string, and the bowing you use need to be very small, right? When you play fast, you don't want to use lots of bow, and even when you practice slow, you need to have the end in mind. That means you don't use lots of bow to practice. You don't practice the wrong articulation. Because you're not going to use that when you play fast. So everything just a little bit miniature of the fast playing. So it's just the fast playing in the slow motion, if that makes sense. So don't try to play slow playing, and then when you try to go back to fast, then it doesn't work at all. The left hand need to have this really nice hand frame. What I mean is all the fingers, you not try to find each finger, you try to find the first position. And sometimes there's a little extension. When you're doing the extension, extend the first finger only, not the second finger or the rest of the finger. On the bar 4 or 5, the third finger is actually on the D natural. So you have to get this really nice extension. And second thing for the left hand, try to think about how lazy can your hand be. Lazy, quote by quote, means if you can keep the finger on the string without lift them up in the air, is good. Why? Because in this way, you will be much more secure to go back to that note and maintain this nice first position, right? So for example, in the beginning, after I play the C, I just release my pressure of the pinky, but I'm still stay on the string, and I just move my first finger to the D string. Now I move. On the neighboring string, I leave the finger on, but if I have to cross a string, then I take my finger off. So lift, stay. Now lift up, and then see, I don't move this finger. That is unnecessary. So to really keep in mind that we're not playing piano, so you can leave the finger on the note without disturb the new note, and really take advantage of this special feature of string instrument. In this way, you can really feel your hand is doing minimum movement, and all the finger is very comfortably on the note, very secure, very stable. Yeah. So here, stay, 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 stay in this G sharp, if you can. Yeah. So sometimes because the third finger and pinky, they are very attached, so you have to move a little, but at least not. Don't do this. When you take the finger above the string and drop it, the distance between the fingertip to the string is very risky. Many things can happen. You can have lots of discrepancy of the intonation. So really try to minimize the distance from the finger to the string in order to gain the security and the time. Yeah, when you play fast, you want have lots of time. In order to do that, you need to shorten the distance, right? The third thing of the left hand is to really have this light touch. Try not to. And I think because if you stay on the string, this lazy fingering, if you're using this lazy fingering, probably you're already doing that. Very light finger movement. So if you really follow this really minimal distance and light finger, lots of notes become much easier to play. 1, 2, 3, fourth line down from the top, the second bar. This one you cannot use the third finger for the D because you have to play the C natural. Pinky. Yeah, because if you use the third finger, then the second finger becomes C sharp. So that you have to choose your fingering very wisely. And I think once you have the pinky and the first finger, there, you're not only practicing the individual finger, you're practicing the double stop as well. So that's a very, very good practice. So just to review what the point we talk about. For the left hand, use the balance point, very small bow, have this nice marcato bow, the accent on each note. And there's a little bit gap in between each note as well. Don't practice slow. When you practice slow, just do the slow motion of a fast playing and don't practice slow. Just distort all the motion, all the bow stroke. When you do the string crossing, reaching out for the higher string and bring the hand in for the lower string and not going up and down, up and down. It's not a vertical motion. It's rather a kind of diagonal motion, like a ramp, okay? Like a ramp, you reaching out and then coming down, reaching out, coming down. And that will make the string crossing much more smoother and much more easier. The third one for the left hand, for the right hand, try to group the note, have a little bit accent, a tiny bit of accent every 3 notes or every 6 notes when you play faster. In this way, that the music will make more sense. It's not too hectic. For the left hand, try to maintain this nice hand frame for the first position. And when you extend the first position, don't extend the second or third finger, only the first finger. Only the first finger, very, very important. So your hand shape is still in this very organized frame. Try to use lazy fingering, try to keep the finger on the string all the time, and trying to have this very light touch of the left hand so you can play fast. Okay, so if you have any question, as usual, leave a comment. And until then, I will see you next time. Happy practice.